PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
She just goes a little mad sometimes.
Do you ever feel like you're normal and the rest of the world has lost its collective mind?
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of 3.
Do you find people saying this to you a lot?
Are you totally deranged?
Are you looking for a looking glass to pass through?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Or looking for a rabbit hole to fall down?
Who could think of a better punishment, really? Everything's the same here, it's just a little worse.
Guess what?
Life's a bitch. Now so am I.
You found it. Welcome to Platinum Rose's Garden.
Hello, my darlings. This is Platinum Rose Lady welcoming you to Platinum Rose's Garden on Sunday, November 4th, 2018. Well, here we are. Almost to remember the 5th of November for those of us on the other side of the pond. Happy Guy Fawkes Day coming up, or Guy Fawkes Night, or however. I'm not sure what it's called, I'm sorry. I hope everybody had an interesting week. My week was pretty good. I hope everybody had a happy and safe Halloween, and, you made it through all the ghosts and goblins and ghouls and whoever showed up at your door to get candy. And if you have candy, I hope you still have some left, and that you haven't devoured it all, and you're not bouncing around on a sugar high. What can we talk about to start off the show? Well, as we mentioned, it's November, so it's November, and daylight savings time has ended or started or whatever it is. I don't know. I can never remember this shit. I just remember it's the whole spring forward, fall back thing, so it's like extra hour of sleep. Yes! That's always a good thing. Of course, the sucky part is that now, at least in New England, it gets dark at like 4:30 in the afternoon. That's like sunset's like 4:30, and it's like, okay, well, this kind of sucks. You gotta trade off stuff. It's like, okay, so it's like getting dark super duper early now. So let's see, what can I talk about? So I mentioned Halloween, and I mentioned that it's November now, and that's my birthday's at the end of the month. Shop early, shop often. Gosh, let me see. What else can I talk about? There's something that I wanted to talk about. What was it? It's right on the tip of my tongue. Gosh, I can't think of what it would be. Oh, that's it. Red Sox World Series champions. WTF. And fuck the world. Fuck the haters. We are the champions, bitches. Sorry, that was, you should be gracious in winning as you are gracious in losing, but sometimes it's just fun to rub it in a teensy little bit. Yes, the Red Sox won the World Series, which is just awesome. It's awesome that we won, and that's great, and stuff like that, and yay team, and all that stuff like that. I mean, it would have been a little sweeter if it had been another team, Yankees. But, it's like, because there's that whole New York, Boston thing, I love how I turn what for some people is a blood vendetta into this thing. It's just a little thing, but it's it's silly. It's sports. Who really gives a shit in the long run? But and it's really exciting. Everybody's all happy and stuff like that. Which is great, which is cool. I mean, it's nice that we won the World Series, and that's awesome, and they didn't have a fucking riot. I don't understand that. I don't get sports fans. I really and truly don't. It's not to say that I don't like sports. I do like sports. I just don't do sports because I don't. Because I'm not really a team player, besides the fact that I found out that when you play baseball, you're supposed to put the bat down. You're not supposed to just hold on to it and run at the other team when you're running at the bases with the bat with the bat up over your head screaming, "This is Sparta!" They don't like when you do that. That's not allowed. I really wish somebody told me that. It would have saved a lot of embarrassment. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm just fooling with you guys. But I don't get sports fans that riot when their team wins. I don't get that. I mean, you see that sometimes. People get like, oh, we're all happy and our team won, so let's go turn over cars and burn shit. What the fuck? I don't get it. I can understand if you're angry. No, wait. I'm going to back that up a little bit. If your sports team loses, obviously you're not happy and you're pissed off and you may have lost money, even though gambling is naughty, children. And you hear about people rioting when their team loses and you're like, okay, well that's kind of stupid, and you hope people get arrested so they don't hurt other people and shit. But when you hear about people who riot because their team wins, I'm sorry. I do that whole dog hearing a strange noise, head tilt thing. I completely don't get it. I don't get it at all. I'm like, so it's like, yay, we're all excited. We won something. Let's burn shit and break windows. What? I don't get it. I don't get could somebody explain this to me, please? I don't get it. Besides the fact that alcohol and testosterone leads to stupid behavior. Okay, wait a minute. Wait, I gotta rewind that. I shouldn't say alcohol and testosterone exclusively, because let's be honest, and don't all you girls out there going, oh, not me, Kim, I'd never do something like that. Bullcrap. I've seen videos from some of these things where these girls are tanked and they're flipping up their shirts and they're doing all kinds of crazy stupid shit. So there are girls at these things who do stupid shit too. So you can't be like it's just the guys. Obviously the other big thing that we have to talk about, or I should talk about, and I should talk about it now just to get it out of the way, because this is my doing my civic duty kind of part of the show. It's like, I'm not legally obligated to do it or anything. I'm just doing it because I'm a nice person. I'm just misunderstood. Me and Godzilla were just completely misunderstood. Tuesday is voting day here in America, if you're listening to this in the good old US of A. A lot of places have elections on Tuesday. So if you are a person who is of legal age and you're legally registered to vote and the whole thing, and it's your, I don't want to lay the whole it's your civic duty blah blah guilt thing on you, although I am Catholic and we do excel at laying guilt on people. But the thing is, if you don't vote, you really don't have any place to bitch about what's going on, because you had a chance to have your say and you didn't take it. So, if you are a person who can vote, go vote. It's not going to take you very long, hopefully. You just check off your little thing, or you draw a line, or do whatever it is you do where you do it, and just, do the little ballot boxy thing, and I almost sound like I know what I'm talking about. And you get your little I voted sticker, and then go have yourself a cookie. Go have a cookie or a donut or some coffee with extra sprinkle whip, frappuccino, mocha, whatever the fuck things that people do with coffee nowadays. Give yourself a treat, is my point. Once you vote, go do something nice for yourself. Go pat a puppy. Go hug a kitten. Go hug a tree if you feel like you want to hug a tree, if that's your thing. Go sniff a flower. Just do something nice for yourself. Go kiss your sweetheart. Don't kiss a total stranger because they get mad when you do that. But just do something nice for yourself, or just treat yourself. You went and did your civic duty thing. Good for you. Now go do something nice. Just a little nice thing, because you voted. You didn't find a cure for herpes. So just, don't go nuts on yourself. So now that I've rambled on for a few minutes and probably made a lot of people go, exactly how much sugar did she eat before this show? Ha ha! Fooled you. I haven't had any for hours. Let's get to the fanfic of the week. I have a really great fic for you guys this week, and I hope you'll check it out after I tell you what it is. Alrighty ho. This week's fanfic of the week is from a writer that has what I consider one of the sweetest pen names I've ever heard. Now, everybody has, their own nom de plume that they use. Yes, I did pay attention in school. Ha ha! To all my teachers that didn't think I was listening. So there. Everybody has their own pen name that they use on sites like fanfiction.net. Some people use their real names, some people don't. I use Platinum Rose Lady because that's what I go by, although everybody knows my name for real too, because, I'm like a big mouth about my name, I guess, I don't know. But every once in a while you see somebody's name that is like, you're like, oh, that's really pretty, or oh, that's so unique, or oh, that's so whatever. The first time I saw this person's name, honest to blog, I was like, aw, I was like, I don't know. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so adorable. I just thought it was the sweetest sounding name. I'm sorry. I'm a complete marshmallowy nerd. I know. This week's fanfic of the week comes from a fanfic author that goes by the name YouCareSoMuch. That's Y-O-U, capital C-A-R-E, capital S-O, capital M-U-C-H. You care so much. It's all run together as one word, but oh my gosh, you guys, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. It just struck me. It just like hit my heart the right way, and I was like, oh, that's such an adorable name. I love it. This person has written so far 6 stories on fanfiction.net for a couple of different genres out there, or properties, I guess you'd put it that way. They have written 6 stories for Sherlock, Doctor Who, and Harry Potter. So obviously they're into Brit stuff, which is great. The story that I'd like to talk about today is actually a multi-chapter drabble, which is great because I love drabbles. Drabbles are really fun. They're hard to do sometimes because you have to get so much in a small amount of words, and that's difficult but fun. So the story that I'd like to highlight today that this person wrote, because they are awesome and really nice, the story is called Unprecedented in the History of Children. And the description of the story goes thusly on fanfiction.net. Quote, a collection of Rosamund Watson drabbles because I love her and the entire Baker Street family. Title is from John's quote in season 4, episode 2. And Rosie, oh, beautiful, perfect, unprecedented in the history of children. That's my bias. That's not bias, that's scientific fact. End quote. So these are all drabbles that are dealing with the people at Baker Street and their relationships and their surrounding Rosie, Rosamund Watson, John and Mary's daughter, with as much love as they can. I have to be perfectly honest. I know that, everyone loved Benedict Cumberbatch's portrayal of Sherlock Holmes, including me, and loved Martin Freeman's performance as John Watson, including me. And we didn't get to see very much with Rosie besides the fact that we knew she was born and we knew that Sherlock was part of her life and stuff like that. I am a sucker for the idea of a man taking care of a child and just being there for a child and being a part of a child's life. Now, Rosie, because her mother is no longer living, is, she's got her dad, John, and she's got Sherlock, which I think some people would be like, you would be better off leaving a child in the room with a spitting cobra than you would leaving a child alone with Sherlock. And I'm like, nope, because underneath all of that cynicism and all of that, I'm a high-functioning sociopath, blah, 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 there's a human being, and you just need something to unlock the door. And I think Rosie would be that person for Sherlock. I mean, and the story that YouCareSoMuch has crafted, her chapters are short and sweet, and it's such a beautiful little story. I really hope you will check it out. The link will be included in my show notes for Unprecedented in the History of Children by YouCareSoMuch. I hope you will go check out their work. And if you do, I hope you will leave them a review. And if you do, I hope you will tell them that you heard about them here on Platinum Rose's Garden. So, that takes us to what you all came for. You're all waiting for it. This week's Supernatural episode recap.
Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Season 14, Episode 4 of Supernatural, Mint Condition. Okay, before we go any further, before I get to the episode, I wanted to address Jensen Ackles personally, which I know is kind of ridiculous since he may never hear this, but what the hell, I'm going to give it a shot. Jensen, how dare you? Jensen Ackles posted some pictures on his Instagram this past week of him dressed up for Halloween, and he was dressed as the Red Hood, the DC Comics hero, question mark, anti-hero, I don't know how you go, you figure it out amongst yourselves, of DC Comics that he voiced in Batman Under the Red Hood, did an amazing job, and he posted pictures of himself dressed as the Red Hood for Halloween. Jensen Ackles, are you trying to kill all of us? Good fucking grief, dude. I'm sorry. Wow! Jensen, holy fucking fuck, you looked amazing. I mean, there's no other way to put it, buddy. You looked frickin' fucking awesome, fantastic, amazing, incredible, wicked awesome, and just fuck me, dude. That was really fucking sweet. And seriously, I'm just kidding about the whole I dare you thing. Jensen, seriously, from the bottom of my black little heart, thank you so much for posting that to Instagram and sharing that with all of us. That was just so awesome. I hope you got like an enormous bag of gummy bears. I was just like beyond thrilled to see that, and seriously, thank you for sharing that with your fans, because we just loved it, and you looked amazing. So, now that that's out of the way, let's get to the episode. The then is dealing with the fact that Dean has been freed from being possessed by Michael, although he says he kind of remembers some things and not other things, but mostly remembers just feeling like he was drowning. And we're dealing with ghosts. We see a lot of old shots from earlier seasons with ghosts in them, finding out things about ghosts and what can repel them and what hurts them and what stops them and so on and so forth. And ghosts can be anything from benign to really fucking terrifying in the supernatural universe. Most of the time, the needle's kind of pointing toward terrifying. So, we also are dealing with the fact that we know by the end of last week's episode, we know why, Michael fled Dean's vessel, because he was hurt by, Dark Kaya, or not Kaya, as I call her, the woman from the bad place who had wounded Michael with this spear that she owns. So, at least now we know that Michael is truly gone from Dean, and we know why. And now we are at Now. And Now is in Salem, Ohio. Take me to the edge and just leave me there. I'm like, Salem, Salem, Ohio. Salem, Ohio? What the fuck? I don't even know if there is a Salem, Ohio. I should probably ask my guy. The date is October 29th, so it's not quite Halloween yet. So stop singing the Silver Shamrock song out there. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch joke for those of you who've actually sat through that movie. I haven't. And what we are in a comic book store, also known as Places I Love to Live. There's a guy who is unboxing some merchandise in the store, and the last thing that he takes out of the box that he's taking figures out, he takes out a large box, and he's completely stunned and happy to see that it's a quite large figure of Panthro. Now, for those of you who don't know who Panthro is, number one, shame on you. I will now educate you. Panthro was one of the characters in the 80s cartoon Thundercats. Don't bother with the Cartoon Network stuff. That's shit. Panthro was the big, tough, strong. He was strong, but he was smart too, and also wielded a really cool pair of nunchucks. So the gentleman whose name we find out is Stuart, decides that he is going to help himself to this piece of merchandise by putting it in his backpack. So he's performing a little 5-finger discount. That's not good. And he gets a phone call from his boss, a woman named Samantha. And it turns out that Stuart's not exactly going to be up for Employee of the Month. He apparently insulted a customer who wound up leaving a 1-star review on Yelp, because he got in an argument with the customer about whether or not he could defeat Superman if he was wearing kryptonite gloves. Okay. Samantha brings up Superman's not real. I'm like, ow. I'm sorry. Is it bad that I was sitting there thinking, well, didn't Lex Luthor have a kryptonite ring for a long time when he got cancer and had to have his hand chopped off or some shit? This is what happens when you poke the comic nerds a little bit. Now, one of the figures in the store is this life-size figure of a horror movie person in the supernatural universe who is a character named Hatchet Man, who is the star of a bunch of films called the All Saints films. We find out more about him later on in the episode. So we see Stuart at home, and he is waiting for other people to show up for game night, and he's chewing out, from the sound of it, he's chewing out someone at a pizza delivery place. The thing is, as he's talking, he has unboxed the Panthro figure, and as he's talking and not paying attention to it, all of a sudden the figure isn't where he left it. It's on the ground. And we've already seen it turn its head. As he realizes the figure is alive, it attacks him, and we get the opening credits. We come back at the Batcave in Lebanon, Kansas, and we see Dean lying on his bed, on his stomach, eating pizza and watching horror movies. Because why not? And I have to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why that's, it's usually with Dean, I'm all like, oh, he's so hot and sexy, or oh, he's so damaged, or damn it, you're so hot and sexy, but you're stubborn and I want to shake you. This time I'm watching him lying there eating pizza, just kind of grooving with the horror movie and stuff, and I'm just sitting there going, oh, bless. Oh, you look so cute. I'm like, oh God, I'm old. Oh God, I'm so old. Sam winds up coming into the room, and Dean's a little bit surprised to see that Sam has shaved off the grief beard, as the fans have taken to calling it. I know some people were probably very upset about the fact that Sam no longer looks like a taller, buffer Bucky Barnes, but, I mean, I like the grief beard, don't get me wrong, but the symbolism behind it is he's found Dean, and now the beard's got to go. So I'm totally fine with that. Sam is kind of irked with Dean because Dean's been staying in his room for pretty much the whole week. He just isn't coming out of his room very much. And Dean basically tells him it's because there's just too many damn people in the Batcave right now. There's all these strangers. There's all these people from Apocalypse World that they brought over. And I mean, some people did wind up going into town, and I don't know if those are people that went into town and stayed being hunters or what. But for the most part, it seems like the people who came from Apocalypse World to the Winchester's world and stayed being hunters have stayed in the Batcave. And that's fine. I mean, it's a big building. It's, I don't even know if they know how big the Batcave is, but Dean's just like, there's too many people, and that's kind of not surprising. Dean's so used to there being this small group of people around him. I'm kind of not surprised and actually very sympathetic to his feelings of that he doesn't like to be surrounded by a crowd of strangers. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm the same way. I am completely the same way, and I can totally get where he's coming from. And Sam winds up telling him about this case that happened in Ohio where this guy was, he posted everything online saying he was attacked by this figure and stuff like that. And Sam's thinking it's a case. It could be a cursed doll or something like that. And so they head out to Salem, Ohio. They show up at the comic store claiming that they are from an insurance company, Campbell and Sons, which I thought was actually really I didn't catch it right away. Thank you to SuperWiki for pointing out the minutia to me. Campbell being Mary Winchester's maiden name, so Campbell and Sons, it's like, well, yeah, I like that. That was nice. They interview the owner of the place, Samantha, who Dean makes the funny thing is the brothers are being like teasing, immature kind of way with each other, with Dean bringing up how Samantha, the owner of the place, is he calls her Sam's wonder twin, Zan and Jaina reference. I ask your parents, because she's got dark hair like Sam, she's got delicate features like Sam, I guess. That's what Dean's alluding to anyway. I'm like, we're talking about your brother, right? Delicate features? That's the hill you want to die on? Okay. To which Sam kind of turns it around and is like, oh, well, you're like him. Talking about the other person in the store, who turns out to be another person that works there, a young man named Dirk. Dean is, needless to say, enamored with and completely impressed by this life-size figure of this movie character called Hatchet Man. And there's a little button on him that you press it and he says his phrases and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so he's, so he talks unlike Jason and Michael, but he's not witty like Freddy. Okay. So we find out that they find out from Samantha that Stuart, the guy that was attacked, he and his roommate had a fight, and Stuart wound up getting tossed out of their place, and he's gone back home to live with his mother. So they wind up going to the house, and they get served cider from the mother, in one of the mugs being a flash mug, which Dean swipes away from Sam, and I'm just like, I don't know why, that just made me laugh. They can hear Stuart shouting in the basement. It sounds like he's rage quitting a video game. As it turns out, it's something called Fortnite. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. I mean, I know it's a video game. I don't know what kind of video game. I'm sorry. I know all the game people out there just clutched their chests and went, I know. I'm sorry. My gaming days are like in the rearview mirror. I mean, I still play games. The thing is, I still suck. So, I'm still playing Sonic going, I can't figure out the rings. Anyway. So, as it turns out, Stuart is burning sage, which is something that people who follow Wicca suggest to do, I believe, to get rid of evil or bad vibes. He tells Sam and Dean that he was dating a goth girl online. Sam and Dean think maybe what's going on might be something caused... That leads them to think that what's going on might be something, caused by a witch or something like that. If he did date her, he's saying he dumped her. Maybe it's a witch with a grudge. The thing is, now Stuart, although, Stuart, whose face is pretty bashed up, is denying that he was attacked. He's saying that it was all a prank. It didn't really happen. He fell, blah, 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 and he wants the guys out of the house now. So, Sam and Dean go back to their car, which is on the other side of the street, and As they're sitting there, well, first Sam's talking on the phone with a hunter, giving them advice. And Dean asks Sam why Sam doesn't like Halloween, which is something that Supernatural fans, are aware of. I mean, it got brought up a couple of different times, in the pilot and in It's the Great Pumpkin, Sam Winchester. Sam's brought up the fact that he just isn't a fan of Halloween, and so far we don't really know why. Sam manages to deflect the question by noting that the mom is leaving the house, and they're waiting to see if Stuart is going to be leaving anytime soon. Sam's on his tablet, and like his phone or his tablet, I forget which now, and was is speculating that perhaps the reason that that Stuart, backed out of his story is because after he posted what happened to him, he basically got cyberbullied, all these people calling him a bitch and a liar and all this stuff like that. I love Dean's remark about the internet where everybody's free to be a dick, and unfortunately that's true. I mean, a lot of people on the net are great, wonderful, creative people who do nothing but give good to the world, and then you have these toxic fuckos that ruin it for everybody else. The thing is, Stuart does wind up coming out of his house bloody and screaming for help. And when I mean bloody, I don't mean just a little cut. The front of his shirt is soaked with blood. The Winchesters run across the street. Sam stays with him and says they're going to call an ambulance. Dean goes in the house, gun drawn. Goes downstairs and heads to the basement, aka Stuart's man cave or whatever they call that. And Dean hears a very ominous noise as he's studying a poster of what looks like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and hears the revving of a chainsaw behind him, and turns around and manages to avoid being struck in the head by a chainsaw, which embeds itself in the wall, and from the look of it was thrown by nobody. So we cut to the hospital where Stuart is lying in a bed, heavily bandaged and probably very severely sedated. His mother is there, and so are Sam and Dean. And she thanks them and says that they probably, saved her son's life. And Sam and Dean talk, and it turns out that, Dean did a quick search. There were no hex bags in the house, but the EMF was going crazy. So it's from the sound of it, what they're dealing with isn't a witch, but a ghost possessing objects, apparently. So Dean says he's going to stay at the hospital to make sure that Stuart's mother stays put while Sam goes back to the house. So Sam gets in, goes down to the basement, runs the EMF over the Panthro figure, which is there on one of the tables, and nothing. Not a thing. The EMF doesn't budge. And Sam's a little bit confused and notices a screensaver on Stuart's computer that shows Stuart in happier times with Stuart, Samantha, and another the other kid from the store whose name is Dirk, and this older gentleman with a beard who's smiling in the picture. And we cut back to the hospital, and Dean's talking with Dirk, the coworker. Stuart might come off as a jerk and kind of a troll and, a fanboy in the worst sense of the word. But as Dirk explains, Stuart's been kind to him. Dirk doesn't have the best relationship with his dad. And when he and his dad have had real big problems and he needed a place to stay, Stuart would let him stay with him. And, no questions asked, just let him crash on the couch until things were good again. And, that's the sign of a good friend. And Dirk and Dean wind up kind of bonding over these horror movies. Dean says at one point in the episode that he likes watching horror movies basically because he knows that in a horror movie, the bad guy is going to get vanquished at the end, so a line to that effect. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I gotta hug you now. It's like, I'm not like I wouldn't mind hugging Dean, but it's like, come here, I have to hold you to my bosom and give you all my maternal warmth and love, even though I'm about as maternal as your average cactus. But it's just like, ugh. So anyway, Sam goes back to the comic store and talks with Samantha, and asks her if anybody in Stuart's life has recently died. And as it turns out, the answer to that question is yes. The owner of the store, a man named Jordan, who we find out is the man from the picture, the older gentleman smiling in the picture, he had recently died of cancer. Sam also finds out from talking with Samantha that that Jordan was cremated. So cremated means no bones to burn, so that's obviously a problem. The thing is, it turns out that the reason that she owns the store, even though she seems knowledgeable about the products, but she doesn't seem very passionate about the products, if that makes any sense, is because Jordan left the store in his will to Samantha and Dirk. As it turns out, he didn't leave the store, he didn't leave part of the store to Stuart, because Stuart was fired by Jordan twice because Jordan was stealing. As Samantha and Sam are talking, all of a sudden there's a cold spot in the room. It looks like it's behind Samantha because the glass on one of the display cases starts to freeze over, and Sam's EMF starts going crazy, and he is attacked and knocked unconscious by the figure of Hatchet Man, who has now come to life with said hatchets in hand. And Samantha screaming her lungs out, and the commercial, and we get commercial. Sam comes to on the ground, thankfully not hurt, other than the fact that he was probably knocked silly for a minute, and finds Samantha alive, amazingly. I was like, oh no, he's gonna find her all carved up. Nope, she's alive. She's just kind of, hunched down, curled up, however you want to word it, obviously fucking terrified. I don't blame her. She says that the figure didn't hurt her, and that then Sam winds up telling her the truth about, what's out there and what's real and stuff like that. As it turns out, they're locked in. That Hatchet Man had grabbed the keys and left. And Sam's of the opinion that he's probably heading to the hospital to finish the job of killing Stuart. Because obviously this ghost is Jordan, who has, as Samantha put it, had a real big thing about stealing, which is something Sam finds out later in the episode when he tries to get them out of the comic store. Locked in a comic store with Sam Winchester. I'm sorry. It's not my birthday yet, but, I could live with that. I'd be totally fine with that. Just leave us a bottle of Hershey syrup and don't come knocking. Anyway, at one point, Sam tries to get them out of there by throwing a figure at the door, and it bounces off because shatterproof glass. Jordan was really didn't like thieves. Sam winds up calling Dean at the hospital to get him up to speed on what's going on. Dean, needless to say, is way, way, way too excited about the idea that this figure of Hatchet Man is probably going to show up to murder Stuart. He's just completely like the Hatchet Man. He's like, you can see the gleam in his eyes. It's like, Dean, could you not? Could you not? That really. It was cute, but it was also. I get it. I do get it, but I'm also kind of like, that's not something you want to be happy about at this moment. Just thought I'd bring that up. We see Hatchet Man walking down the street with this keychain attached to his clothing now, and fans are, yelling and cheering for him because they think it's just a dude in a costume. It was very reminiscent to me of the scenes in Halloween when when Michael Myers is outside in the mask, and people don't know that, oh my gosh, this is like an unkillable serial killer, evil on two legs kind of thing. It was really, really, I thought it was a funny scene. It reminded me a lot of Halloween. Dean winds up putting a circle of salt around Stuart's bed as Dirk is asking him in a really panicked way, like, all of those things that are out there in the dark, vampires, witches, werewolves, all of that stuff is real. To which Dean responds, unless it's Godzilla, it's real. And I'm sitting there going, damn it, Dean, again? Again you do this to me? Don't think I forgot that whole line from Jump the Shark. Oh, Godzilla's not real. I remember that line. I'm like, that one little spark of happiness, and you have to step on it. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, writers. This from this G fan to you. Really appreciated that. Of course, I figure Japan's got its own hunters. They can deal with Godzilla. And Dean also tells Dirk to stay in the salt circle and don't leave. Who here thinks that's going to work? Yeah, me neither. Sam tries to pick the lock, and as he's trying to pick the lock and failing, unfortunately, Samantha tells him that she knows Stuart, even if she hired him back, and he's still stealing from the store. The thing is, whatever he steals, she takes out of his paycheck, and technically, I guess, no, actually not. I was going to say technically, I guess that kind of makes it not stealing, because you're paying for it, but you're paying for it after you take it, so I guess that's kind of stealing. Ow. Oh, brain cramp. Ow. Of course, as Samantha brings up, ghosts probably don't think that way. No, they probably don't. Ghosts tend to see things kind of in black and white. Back at the hospital, the lights start going all crazy and stuff like that. And as Stuart's mother is coming down the hall with some food, she is confronted by Hatchet Man and screams because, duh, big scary man, 2 hatchets. I think most people would scream. He winds up being confronted by Dirk, who is all like, Stuart's my friend. If you're gonna try and hurt him, you're gonna have to go through me. And I'm all like, oh, that's so brave of you. It's totally not gonna work. Nope, there he goes after you. Yep, I'm like, that didn't work. It was brave, stupid, but brave. The charge of the Light Brigade were brave too, and that didn't end out too well. Sam winds up making, sorry, I gotta jump back a little bit. There's a nice parallel going on between the security guards who are not paying any attention at all to the security cameras, which are showing Dirk running for his life from Hatchet Man. And it's parallel kind of to the stuff that's going on the screen that they're watching. They're watching the TV. They're watching one of these All Saints Day movies, and all the stuff that's going on the screen with Hatchet Man chasing after this girl is very nicely being paralleled by the Hatchet Man figure chasing after Dirk, elevator stuff and all that. And it was really good. I was like, that's nice work. Sam winds up building a homemade bomb to get the door open. To Samantha's kind of horror that he knows how to do this, Sam's response is, I had a messed up childhood. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I gotta hug you too. I'm a hugger. What can I say? Needless to say, the bomb works because it's Sam fucking Winchester. Come on. I love the mutual cool between him and Samantha, and they both look so surprised and pleased that it worked. Does anybody else think Sam was the kid that you didn't want to let near a cherry bomb growing up? Yeah, me too. Dirk and Dean wind up confronting Hatchet Man in the morgue because he winds up showing up there under a sheet and doing the whole Jason sitting up thing, and it's really quite scary. I also have to bring up something about Dean and the jacket that he's wearing as an insurance agent. Dean, 1975, called They Want Their Jacket Back. Wow. That was just, woo! Do not wear that jacket ever again. After the whole thing where they are confronted by Hatchet Man, we actually wind up getting a trailer for this All Saints Day movie. I'm like, okay. We're just slipping further and further away from reality. All right, well, that's fine. I can deal with that. I've been there before. Dean at first tries to reason with the ghost that's inside this figure, telling him to move on to the light and all that stuff like that, or he's going to move him on. That goes about as well as you think it's going to. And it turns out to be a fight between Hatchet Man and his hatchets and Dean and a fire axe. And it's pretty evenly matched, although, this isn't an actual person. It's just a ghost inhabiting a figure, Sam and Samantha have shown up at the hospital, and Sam figures out, thanks to Samantha, that what is keeping Jordan's ghost here is the keychain to the store, which Stuart has had in his possession. Dirk winds up saving Dean from getting killed by Hatchet Man and gets knocked out for his pains. Sam and Samantha make it into the morgue as Dean's being throttled by Hatchet Man. Sam yells out to Dean to get the keychain off of Hatchet Man's clothing, which Dean manages to do. Dean tosses it to Sam. Sam dumps some what looks like alcohol or something into the small container and drops the keys in there. Keys go up in flames. Keychain goes up in flames, and the ghost winds up leaving the Hatchet Man figure in flames and goes on to wherever he's going. And the Hatchet Man figure just tips over and falls to the ground lifeless. There's nothing moving it any longer. And we see the cut to a commercial. We come back, and Sam, Dean, Dirk, and Samantha are just kind of standing there looking down at this figure. And Samantha asks, is it over? Is he gone? Meaning Jordan. And Sam says that he's in a better place now. Okay. Not entirely sure about that, but we'll run with it. And we see the Winchesters driving back we're assuming driving back to the Batcave. And Dean, as they're driving, actually thanks Sam for getting him to, come out of his room and finding them a case and getting him out of his funk. Sam brings up that Dean needs to stop blaming himself for saying yes to Michael. That he did it for family. He did it for Sam's sake. He did it for Jack's sake. It was for family. Sam says he doesn't blame Dean for the stuff that Michael did while he was wearing Dean's body as a vessel, and he shouldn't either. Dean says he's never going to be able to forget what happened while Michael was using him as a vessel, but that Sam is right in the fact that he's tired of just sitting around and hiding. He's just going to be there for people when they need him and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that's not quite saying I'm not going to stop blaming myself, but it's a start anyway. As they're talking, Sam finally talks about why he hates Halloween so much. And it doesn't turn out to be, it's embarrassing from the sound of it, but it's not, thankfully it's not something terrible. It's not like, it's not something that happened with Dean. It's not something that John did. It's not anything like that. As Sam tells the story of what it is, it turns out that when Sam was in 6th grade, he had a crush on a girl. And this girl invited him to her Halloween party. And he said yes. And he went to the party, and everything seemed to be going fine until they started playing games. Which, at first, Dean teases him that it must have been spin the bottle, but Sam says no, it wasn't. It was bobbing for apples. The thing is, because Sam was so nervous about being there and being at this party with this girl that he liked and stuff like that, he got sick. He threw up all over her. And everybody freaked out. He freaked out, ran out of the party, went and hid in the woods until Dean came to fetch him to bring him home. And that's why he doesn't like Halloween. And I was like, oh, honey. Oh, you sweet, precious little boy. You sweet, precious little angel. Come here. Let me hug you and make you feel better. Oh my gosh, that just broke my heart. Cause I can actually really sympathize with Sam. I used to, when I was younger, I had problems like that too. Vomiting when I got nervous and stuff. That is not fun. Leads to ulcers later on in life. I found that out. I was like, oh my gosh, you poor thing. You know, Samazons are all about defending Sam and protecting Sam, and we're also about loving Sam. And I was just like, oh, come here, I want to stroke your hair and make you feel better and, you know, feed you almond cookie bars or something like that, you poor sweet thing. And Dean doesn't tease him, which I was like, that's really nice. You know, he's being a good brother. And he starts talking about how next Halloween they should dress up in like matching outfits, do like he throws out all these things. Batman and Robin, Sam shoots that down. Bert and Ernie, Sam shoots that down, and Dean admits that's weird. Brings up Rocky and Bullwinkle. I was like, that's a nice shout out to Crowley. He brings up Shaggy and Scooby. I'm like, who's supposed to be who in that? I'm lost on that one. Ren and Stimpy, Turner and Hooch. I'm like, could we stop with the dog references, please? And then the last one he brings up is Thelma and Louise. I'm like, Thelma and Louise died at the end of the movie. Could we not do that? Could we not go there, please? I'm like, you missed the best one. Why the fuck didn't you suggest Nightwing and the Red Hood? There was a Red Hood figure in the comic store as well. And I was like, they couldn't suggest Nightwing and the Red Hood, huh? That sucks. Although we did get Batman and Robin. I'm like, I don't think you could, Robin's not supposed to be taller than Batman, because you know Dean would insist on being Batman. I was like, and then they just keep driving off. But the episode's not over, because we cut back to the morgue in the hospital, and we see the one of the security guards who were oh so helpful earlier in the episode, who find all this shit lying on the ground in the morgue. You know, the axe and the hatchets and stuff like that, and the figure of this, you know, this horror movie character. And he gets closer, and the camera does a close-up of the character's face, the eyes open and the whole thing. And it says, Happy Halloween, with an evil laugh. And it doesn't look like anybody pressed the button, because what's Halloween and what's a horror movie without a sequel? And the episode ends. I thought Mint Condition was a hoot. I liked this episode a lot. I give it 4 bouquets out of 5. I really, really liked it. I thought it moved the storyline along really well. I'm glad we finally know why Sam hated Halloween for so long. Maybe because he's actually talked about it and talked it out and actually said it. Maybe he won't hate it so much. And maybe next Halloween we'll get to see Sam and Dean. I got it! Thor and Loki! They could totally dress as Thor and Loki! Because Sam has to be Thor because he's already lifted Mjolnir. So, there. That would be awesome! That would be the bomb. That's not going to happen. But it would still be wicked cool. So anyway, next week's episode, Nightmare Logic. We know there's vampires. We know they're chasing people. We know Sam and Dean are involved in trying to save lives and saving people and hunting things, the family business. But might it be too much? We'll have to find out together. Okay, before I head out of here, kiddos, if you'd like to leave me a comment or a question or whatever, platinumroselle@yahoo.com, please shoot me something that you'd like to send me. Put PRG in the header, and I will read it on the air if you would like me to. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I am platinumroselle@twitter.com. You can follow me there. You can look up my fanfiction at fanfiction.net. Type in Platinum Rose Lady in the search author search section, and you'll find my stuff there. And I hope you will check out the other stuff that I am involved with on the interwebs. Those would include Ring Around the Rosie, which is my wrestling podcast over on ringaroundtherosie.net. There is also Subject Cinema, which is our movie podcast. TC and I have a movie podcast that we've been doing for 10 plus years. Oh my gosh. And it's a lot of fun and crazy, and we have a great time. He has some solo shows that he does as well, including Catastrophe Vortex, because he is a catastrophe movie junkie. He also has 3 Minute Weekend and Tuesday Digidex, which are his looks at movies that are coming out to theaters, to pay-per-view, to on-demand, every place where you can look up stuff so you'll know where to spend your coinage. And we also have Front Row 5 and 10, which is our list show. It's a lot of fun and really silly, and I hope you'll check that out as well. There are other members of our little demented family, including Cavebabble, which is the lion family. They're great folks. I hope you'll check them out as well. And there's Aunt B's Nerd Grotto, which is on YouTube, done by our buddy Anthony Lamberti. He's a great guy, and I hope you will give his stuff a look-see as well. And we also have a couple of dramatic works, if you're so bent, that you can give a listen to. One of them is called Manhattan Hammerdown As It Happened, which is all of us. All of the work that we've done on these is everybody involved with our little podcast family. It's a true labor of love. These are amateur productions. We're doing them just because they're fun and giving us a chance to stretch our creative wings. Manhattan Hammerdown As It Happened looks into what else was going on in New York City the night that Clover came for a visit. The production was done in conjunction with the 10-year anniversary of the J.J. Abrams film Cloverfield, so hopefully you guys will give that a listen. Also, we have a new dramatic work that just was put up on Halloween night. It is our retelling of the H.G. Wells classic, The War of the Worlds. It was really fun to do, and I hope everybody will give it a listen. It's a modern take on the idea of Earth being besieged by something from the stars. Like I said, it was great fun. A lot of work went into it, a lot of work from TC. I want to give TC the biggest kudos for all of this stuff, because he's the one that comes up with these ideas, does a lot of the writing for them, definitely does all of the mixing and editing and all that computer shit that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, and he does all of it because I'm basically Blue Screen of Death Girl. That'd be an awesome superhero name. Blue Screen of Death Girl, da-da-da. That wouldn't really fit on a outfit, I don't think. Anyway, I hope you will check those out. They were really fun to do, and they're really great. And like I said, they're amateur productions. We all tried super hard, but our hearts are all in it, and I hope you'll give your ears a chance to get into them too. So, that is going to wrap it up for another week here on Platinum Rose's Garden, and I am going to head out of here for another week, and I'll be back next week with some more lunacy. This is Platinum Rose Lady signing off, reminding you to love the ones you hug the ones you love, take some time to stop and smell the roses, vote on Tuesday, and if you have Halloween candy left over, save me a Hershey bar.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.